The silent gaze. The jungle was silent, too silent. Jaren moved carefully, holding his flashlight low. The trees around him were tall and glowing. Their leaves shimmered with soft blue light. He had never seen anything like it. His heart beat fast, not from fear, but from something strange. It felt like he was not alone. His shuttle had crashed a day ago on this unknown planet. He was the only survivor. With a broken radio and no map, all he could do was wait and survive. He found a small cave and decided to make camp. He placed down his emergency blanket and turned on the heat lamp. Just as he opened a pack of dried food, he heard it, a soft crack in the trees. A branch moved, but no wind was blowing. Jaren froze. Then he saw her. She stood still, almost like a shadow between the trees. At first he thought she was just another creature, but then the moonlight touched her face. She was not a beast. She was beautiful, tall and slim, with pale silver skin and long white hair that glowed faintly. Her eyes were large, dark, and shining with something deeper. Pain. Jaren couldn't move. The alien woman stepped forward slowly. She didn't speak. She didn't make a sound, but her eyes locked onto his, and in that moment, something strange happened. She cried. A single tear rolled down her cheek, then just as suddenly she turned and ran back into the trees. Jaren jumped up. "Wait!" he shouted. But she was already gone. He stood there for a long moment, confused, shaken. Why had she cried? Why did she look at him like she knew him? He picked up his flashlight and pointed it toward the trees, but there was no sign of her. Just footprints, light, soft, and heading deeper into the jungle. Jaren's mind raced. She wasn't just any alien. There was something familiar about her. He sat back down and stared at the fire. The image of her crying wouldn't leave his mind. He tried to eat, but the food tasted like paper. "Who are you?" he whispered to himself. That night, he couldn't sleep. The next morning, he followed the trail. Each footprint was careful, almost like she wanted him to follow, but not too fast. He found broken branches, disturbed moss, and strange marks on the trees, symbols, lines and circles drawn into the bark. And then he found something strange. It was a photo, a small, dirty photo stuck between two rocks. He picked it up and wiped off the dirt. It was a picture of a boy, a human boy. His own face stared back at him. The photo was old, yellowed and worn, but it was him, taken when he was maybe 4 or 5 years old. He dropped it in shock. How? His hands shook as he picked it back up. It made no sense. No one here should have a photo of him. He was born on Earth. He had never left the planet until his mission. No one here could know him. Unless he felt his heartbeat rise. Was she connected to his past? He looked up at the trees. Somewhere, out there, she was watching. He could feel it. He put the photo into his pocket and followed the trail again, this time faster. But it was gone. Just like that. No more footprints, no more signs. It was like she had disappeared into thin air. Jaren stopped in the middle of the jungle. The glowing trees swayed above him, but the air was still, quiet, watching. He whispered into the silence, "Why did you cry?" That night he stayed awake by his fire again. The photo was in his hands. He turned it over. There was something written on the back, one word, "Return." Jaren stared at it. The ink was faded but clear. He didn't know what it meant yet, but deep inside he felt something waking up. A feeling he didn't understand. A connection. A mystery pulling him forward. She knew him. But how? And why did she cry the moment their eyes met? He would find her again. He had to. Even if it meant walking deeper into the dark alien jungle. Even if the truth would change everything. Jaren didn't sleep. The glowing alien jungle whispered around him. Soft clicks, distant hoots, and wind that didn't feel like wind. But his mind stayed focused on only one thing: her eyes, the way she had looked at him, as if she knew his story before he did. The single tear she shed haunted him more than fear ever could. The next morning, just after the twin suns rose, Jaren began moving again. This time, he wasn't just surviving. He was searching, not for food, not for help, for her. After 2 hours of walking, he stopped. Something strange caught his eye: a smooth tree with deep carvings on its trunk. He stepped closer. Symbols, but not random ones. Lines forming circles, and inside those circles were letters. Human letters. Jaren leaned in, heart pounding. The letters were rough and uneven but clear. HELP. He stepped back. No, that can't be. Another tree stood just ahead. It had more carvings. He was taken. The words sent a chill down his spine. They weren't old. The bark was still healing, the cuts fresh. Someone had carved this recently. He turned slowly. How could anyone, especially an alien, write in English? Unless... He remembered the photo. The human child. His own face. He reached into his pocket and pulled it out again. The photo fluttered in the warm breeze. Something about this planet was connected to him. Somehow this alien world was hiding his story. Deeper in the jungle, he found more clues. A stone half covered by moss had a handprint on it, not an alien hand, a human-sized one, and just below it, carved into the stone. They hit her. Jaren knelt beside it. He whispered the words. Who are you talking about? He noticed something else beside the stone. Burnt leaves, ashes. Something had been burned here. A small pile of bones lay near the roots. They were not human. Maybe a small animal, maybe a warning, but nearby, something even stranger. A child's bracelet, plastic, pink beads. Jaren stared at it in disbelief. This place, it wasn't just an alien forest. It was a graveyard of forgotten memories. Suddenly, a sound. Snap. He stood up quickly and looked around. Nothing. Then, another snap closer. He turned, holding a metal rod in his hand like a weapon. From the shadows, a whisper, not a voice, not a word. Just breathing. He called out, "Are you there? I saw your message. I just want to talk." The forest didn't answer, but then behind a tree he saw something shine. Not eyes, not weapons. A symbol carved on the bark, a small heart. Inside the heart was the word, brother. Jaren felt like the air left his lungs. He stepped forward, mouth dry. No, that can't be. I don't have a sister. But deep inside something broke. A forgotten memory, like a cracked mirror, surfaced. A woman's voice from long ago. A lullaby, a goodbye. He turned around fast, but she wasn't there. Yet he felt her. Close. Watching. He dropped to his knees beside the heart symbol. He pressed his hand against it. "I don't know who you are," he said quietly, "but I'm not leaving until I find out." The jungle stayed silent, but something had changed. He wasn't just an outsider anymore. He was part of this place. And someone out there had written the word brother. Just for him. That night, as he sat under the stars, Jaren stared at the sky. He wasn't alone. He wasn't lost. He was being guided. He just didn't know why yet. But the next morning, he would find the truth. And the next symbol he followed would lead him straight to the ruins of a long-forgotten outpost, one that once belonged to humans, one that held the answers. The next morning, the jungle fog was thick, but Jaren was no longer walking blindly. He had direction now. The word brother carved into the tree had shaken something loose in his mind, something hidden, something real. He had followed alien trails, but now he was following his own past. Every step felt familiar, like his feet remembered paths his mind didn't. After an hour of climbing up rocky hills and ducking under giant glowing vines, He saw it, half buried in the ground, overgrown by roots and moss, a wall, not made of stone, metal, human metal. He rushed forward. As he brushed away the vines, he uncovered a large, rusted door. The Earth Federation symbol was still faintly visible. Human Research Station, E-17. The plate read. It was real, a human outpost forgotten, lost. He pried open the door. It groaned like something waking from a long sleep. Inside, darkness, but not silence. There was a hum, faint, deep inside the floor. He turned on his flashlight and stepped in. Dust floated in the air like snow. Terminals and control panels lined the walls. Most were dead. Some sparked slightly, blinking orange. He walked down the hallway slowly. The walls were scratched, like people had been trapped here. He found a room with shattered glass. Inside was an old crib, broken and rotting, painted stars on the wall. This wasn't just a lab, this was someone's home. He moved deeper inside. The lights flickered as he entered the control room. One screen blinked blue. A message. He tapped. It had played, a woman's voice, old, shaky, tired, but human. If anyone finds this, my name is Dr. Ellen Rawlene. We were part of the first wave of human researchers on planet X-93. We didn't expect life here, and we didn't expect to fall in love with it. Jaron froze. Dr. Ellen Rawlene. His mother's name. He sat down slowly. Her voice continued. I gave birth to a child not fully human. The others feared her. They called her a mistake. They tried to take her away, but the natives protected her. They raised her as their own. I stayed behind. I couldn't leave her. Jaron's hands trembled. This wasn't just a story. It was his story. The woman in the forest, the one who cried when she saw him, wasn't just an alien. She was his sister. He searched the room, found a sealed drawer under the floor. Inside, wrapped in cloth, was a small toy, his old stuffed bear from childhood. Tears filled his eyes. He remembered it. But he never remembered bringing it into space. That meant someone had taken it with them. His mother. His sister. They had lived here. Hidden. Forgotten. Then he found another log. This one was a video. It showed Dr. Rawlene standing in the same control room. Her arms wrapped around a small alien child with white hair and glowing blue eyes. She is not a danger. She is not a mistake, the doctor said firmly. She is my daughter, and I will protect her no matter the cost. A loud crash was heard in the background, soldiers shouting. The screen turned black. The log ended. Jaron sat in silence. So many questions. Why didn't anyone tell him? Why was this place never recovered? Why did she cry when she saw him? Because she remembered him. Because she knew the face of the one she had been waiting for, and now he had to find her again. But this time, not as a stranger, as a brother. As he stood to leave, the door behind him creaked open. A shadow moved across the hallway, a whisper in the darkness. His heart raced. Was it her? Or someone else? He turned slowly, his flashlight shaking, and in the doorway, she stood, watching, silent again. But this time, she didn't run. She stood in the doorway, tall, still, silent. Her white hair flowed like moonlight, glowing gently in the dark corridor. Her silver skin shimmered and her deep blue eyes locked onto Jaron's. She didn't cry this time. She didn't speak, but she didn't run either. Jaron took a careful step forward. You came back? She tilted her head, curious, cautious. I saw the recordings, Jaron said softly. The woman, Dr. Ellen Rawlene, she's my mother, isn't she? The alien girl blinked. Then she slowly lifted her hand and touched her chest. One word, barely a whisper, escaped her lips. Mother. Jaron's breath caught. It was the first time he heard her voice. Soft, musical, and full of pain. He stepped closer and she didn't move away. "You remember her?" he asked. She nodded, then pointed to him. Her voice cracked. "Brother." Jaren dropped to his knees. He couldn't speak for a moment. His chest felt tight. He had come to this planet by accident, but now he understood it wasn't an accident. It was fate. "I didn't know about you," he whispered. "I didn't know I had a sister." She sat on the floor in front of him, watching him closely, studying his face. She gently pulled the photo from his pocket, the one he'd found, in the forest. She turned it over and pointed to the word written on the back. "Return. You were meant to come," she said. Jaren noticed something glowing on her arm, a bracelet. Old plastic pink beads, the same bracelet he had found earlier. "It was yours?" he asked. She nodded. "Mother gave it to me, before they took her away." Jaren's eyes narrowed. "Who took her?" She looked down, her voice low. "The tribe. They said humans are dangerous. They said she had to disappear, to protect me." A lump formed in Jaren's throat. "They took her from you, and from me." She nodded again. "They feared what I am. Half human, half them." Jaren realized how alone she must have been, raised by people who feared her, separated from her true family, and yet she had remembered him. She had held onto the photo, onto hope. "Why did you cry when you saw me the first time?" he asked. She met his eyes. "I dreamed of your face," she said slowly. "Many times. I didn't know if it was real. I thought you were just a wish." Jaren's heart sank. "I'm real, and I'm not leaving you again." She smiled for the first time, a small, shy smile. Then a sudden noise outside the door. A sharp call, strange, rough, alien voices. She jumped up, alert. "They followed me." Jaren stood too. "Who?" "The elders. They don't want you here." They ran through the ruined corridors. The old station shook slightly. Roots had grown through the walls, and every step made the metal groan. She led him through a hidden tunnel behind a broken control panel. They crawled through dirt and stone, emerging into a green cave filled with glowing moss. "Here," she stopped. "This place is safe." Jaren sat beside her, catching his breath. "You risked everything coming to find me." She nodded. "Because you're the only one who might understand. The only one like me." She handed him something. An old data chip. "Mother left this, for you." Jaren looked at the chip, then at her. "Do you have a name?" he asked. She hesitated, then said, "They called me Lyra." He smiled. "Lyra, I'm glad I found you." She looked away. "No, you didn't find me. I've been waiting for you all my life." The cave grew quiet again. Outside, the jungle was alive with danger. But inside the cave, for the first time, they weren't alone. They were brother and sister, two halves of the same broken family, reunited in the heart of a forgotten world. But peace wouldn't last long. The elders were searching, and Jaren's presence had already shaken old laws. The tribe would not allow their secrets to be exposed, not without a fight. Night fell quickly on the jungle planet, but Jaren and Lyra could not rest. Inside the glowing cave, their reunion had brought peace, but only for a moment. Now, whispers of footsteps echoed outside. The tribe was coming, not to welcome him, but to judge him. Lyra stood silently, her ears sharp. She knew their movements. She had grown up among them, but never truly belonged. "They know you're here," she said. Jaren looked at her. "Will they hurt you too?" She hesitated. "They might. The elders believe you are dangerous, a returning blood. They say the old prophecy warned them about this day." Jaren frowned. "Prophecy?" Lyra nodded. "A human would return, one of pure blood, one who brings change, They think change is chaos. Before he could ask more, a loud horn echoed through the trees. The sound shook the rocks under their feet. Lyra grabbed his hand. It's time. They didn't run. Instead, Lyra led Jaren out of the cave, down a narrow path lit by glowing insects. The jungle opened into a wide clearing where ancient stones stood tall, carved with faces of past tribe leaders, and waiting there were the elders, tall, robed aliens with hollow eyes and skin like silver bark. Warriors stood behind them with spears made of crystal. Lyra stepped forward and bowed her head. I brought him, she said. Jaren stood tall. He felt their eyes on him, cold, curious, afraid. One elder stepped forward, his voice deep and slow. Why did you come to this world, human? Jaren didn't flinch. I didn't plan to. My ship crashed, another elder hissed. Yet you went to the ruins. You opened old wounds. Jaren pointed at Lyra. I found my sister. I didn't open anything. The truth was already buried here. I only uncovered it. A tense silence followed. The elders turned to Lyra. You risked the tribe. You broke our rule. You led him to the past. She stood tall. He is not the past. He is family. I am not only one of you. I am also part of him. One elder whispered to the others. Another nodded slowly. Then the first one turned back to them. If you are truly family, you must face the trial of blood. Lyra's eyes widened. No. Jaren looked at her. What is it? She shook her head. It's their oldest ritual to prove truth. Pain for proof. The elder held up a sharp blade made of glowing bone. One cut from each, he said. Then we will know. If your blood is the same, you may speak. If not, one of you dies. The warriors raised their spears. Jaren stepped forward. Do it, Lyra tried to stop him. You don't have to. I do, he said. If this is what it takes, then let them see the truth. The elder stepped forward and sliced Jaren's palm. A line of red blood spilled out. Bright, human. Then he turned to Lyra. She didn't blink. She held out her hand. The blade sliced. Her blood flowed, thicker, but also red. Not pure red. It shimmered like starlight in a drop. The elder held both hands side by side. The bloods met and did not reject each other. Instead, they merged, blending into a strange, glowing swirl. The elders gasped. Silence fell over the clearing. The oldest, one stepped back and bowed slightly. The blood speaks, he said. They are one. The warriors lowered their weapons. Lyra looked at Jaren. He smiled. For the first time in years, she was accepted not just as a strange child, not just as a half-being, but as someone whole, as someone real. But the moment was short. Another elder stepped forward, angry. If they are one, then he is now part of us. The other elders nodded. That's when Jaren realized this was no welcome. This was a binding. They want me to stay, he whispered. Lyra's face turned pale. They want to keep you. Forever. Jaren stepped back. I didn't agree to that. The angry elder raised his hand. The blood chose. You are one of us now. You may not return to your world. The jungle seemed to close in around them. Jaren looked at Lyra. I'm not a prisoner, she whispered. If we run now, they'll hunt us. He clenched his fists. Then we run. Together. And with that, they turned and vanished into the forest. The warriors gave chase, but the night was thick, and Lyra knew these woods better than anyone. Behind them, the elders shouted, but in front of them, a new path opened, not made by prophecy, but by two siblings, facing fate together. The forest didn't sleep. As Jaren and Lyra ran through the thick jungle, the alien night came alive with glowing plants, floating spores, and creatures that watched silently from the shadows. Their feet hit the soft moss, dodging roots and stone. Behind them, the tribe was fading. just voices now like echoes of a dream. They finally stopped near a waterfall hidden in the hills. Moonlight poured down through the treetops, bathing them in silver light. Jaren leaned against a tree, breathing hard. Lyra sat by the stream, quiet. He walked over to her, sat beside her. For a long time, neither spoke. Then he said softly, "Back at the ruins, the first time I saw you, you cried." She nodded. "Why?" he asked again. "Why did you cry when you saw me?" Lyra didn't answer at first. She stared into the water, her reflection trembling in the current. Finally, she whispered, "Because you looked like him." Jaren turned toward her. "Like who?" She didn't lift her eyes. "Our father." Jaren's chest tightened. "I never knew our father," he said. "I did," Lyra replied. For a short time, she picked up a stone and turned it in her hands. "They never told you, did they?" she said quietly. "No. My mother never said anything." "She couldn't," Lyra said. "They forced her to stay silent. Your side, the humans, didn't want people to know she had a child with an alien, and my side, the tribe, called her a defiler. They said she brought corruption." She paused. "They blamed me for being born." Jaren looked down. His hands trembled. He had always thought he was alone. But she had been hunted just for existing. He asked, "What happened to our father?" Lyra's voice grew shaky. "They killed him." Jaren's eyes widened. "What?" She nodded. "The elders. He tried to stop them when they came for Mother. He stood between them. They called him a traitor." She looked at Jaren now, her eyes wet. "I was just a child hiding in the shadows. I saw it. He didn't fight. He only said one thing." She paused, her lips trembling. "Spare my children." The words hit Jaren like a stone. "He knew about me?" Lyra nodded. "Yes. Mother told him everything. She kept your photo close. She said she had to send you away, to Earth, to keep you safe." Jaren felt the photo in his pocket. It had always felt like a mystery. Now it felt like a goodbye. He looked at Lyra, voice low. "You've carried all this pain alone." She wiped her cheek with the back of her hand. "I didn't cry because I was sad. I cried because I wasn't alone anymore. You were real." Jaren took her hand. "I'm here now," he said, "and we'll face the rest of this together." Lyra looked at him. For a moment she smiled, then her face turned serious again. "There's more." He blinked. "More?" She pulled a small pendant from around her neck. "This was our mother's. Before she was taken, she recorded one last message in it." Jaren took the pendant gently. "Play it," Lyra said. He pressed the center. A small light glowed, and a voice echoed softly from the device. "To my son, and to my daughter." It was Dr. Ellen Ralene's voice. Tired, but warm. Full of love. "I don't know if you'll ever meet. But if you do, promise me this. Don't let fear divide you. You are both the bridge between worlds. You are my hope, my love, my peace." The message ended. The light faded. Jaren sat still, the pendant clutched in his fist. He looked at Lyra. "We have to go back." Her eyes widened. "Back to the tribe?" He shook his head. "Back to the world, to Earth, to the Federation. They buried this truth. We have to make sure no other children grow up hidden, forgotten." Lyra hesitated. "They'll never accept me." "They will," Jaren said, "because I won't let them do to you what they did to our mother. Or to him." The stars above them burned brighter now. Two siblings sat by the waterfall. Not strangers. Not enemies. But family. And together, they were going to change everything. The stars were still out when Jaren and Lyra began their journey back. No path, no guide. Just footsteps pressed into the wet forest floor, side by side. Lyra didn't speak much, but her presence was strong. She no longer looked like someone hiding in the trees. She was calm now, focused. Her shoulders no longer drooped with fear. She had her brother beside her, and a truth the galaxy had tried to erase. But truth had a way of returning, just like Jaren did. As the forest gave way to rocky plains, they saw it, the wreckage of Jaren's shuttle, twisted metal still steaming from the crash. The same crash that had brought him here, the same crash that had brought them together. He looked at it with fresh eyes now. This was the beginning, he said softly. Lyra touched the metal hull with her fingertips, and now it's the way forward. Jaren nodded. I'll repair it. We'll leave this place. Together. Lyra blinked slowly. I've never seen another world. You will, he promised. It took 2 full days to power up the emergency systems. Jaren used pieces from the jungle, tech from the old outpost, and even crystals traded in silence with watching eyes in the trees. Lyra helped him, careful, quiet, but learning fast. She had never been taught these things. The tribe never allowed her. But now she asked questions. She wanted to know, and Jaren answered every one, like a big brother should have. Long ago, on Ni. The third night, as stars turned and wind whispered through the canopy, Lyra sat alone beside the fire holding the pendant. Her fingers traced its edge slowly. Jaren watched her for a moment, then walked over. Can't sleep? He asked. She shook her head. There's one last thing I want to do, before we leave. Jaren sat beside her. What is it? I want to see our mother's grave. Jaren looked down. He had wondered if there was one. Lyra answered his silence. It's not far. The tribe never visits it. They pretend she never existed. He stood. Then let's go. She shouldn't be forgotten. They traveled through a narrow valley where silver trees grew in silence and blue vines draped like curtains. Lyra stopped near a low hill covered in soft flowers that glowed pale pink. She pointed to a flat stone buried in the earth. No name, no words, just a circle carved in the center. Jaren knelt and brushed the dirt from the surface. Lyra placed the pendant on the stone. She used to hum to me, she whispered. Not a song from here, a human song. I never knew the words, but I remembered the sound. Jaren reached into his pocket. He took out the photo again, the one from the forest. He placed it beside the pendant. She never stopped loving either of us, he said. Lyra touched the stone. For the first time, she didn't cry. She smiled, and Jaren smiled with her. As they returned to the shuttle, Lyra asked, Do you think they'll accept me on Earth? He paused, then answered, Some people will be afraid. Some will stare, but you'll have me. That's enough, she said. He looked at her, calm, proud, fierce in her quiet way. And I'll have you, he said. For the first time, in my life I won't be alone either. The shuttle engines came to life that evening. The sky above burned with stars as Jaren and Lyra strapped in. He sat at the pilot seat, checking the final systems. Are you ready? He asked. Lyra nodded, once. I don't know what waits for us, he said, but I know this, you're not a mistake. You're not a threat. You're proof. Proof of what? She asked. He smiled. That love can survive across worlds. And blood doesn't lie. As the shuttle lifted off the ground, the jungle below slowly vanished from view. The alien world shrank beneath them, and ahead, the stars opened like a path. 2 weeks later, Earth orbit. The shuttle arrived near Earth's outer docking ring. Alarms had sounded when Jaren's ID reappeared in orbit. He had been listed as dead for weeks. Now, reports were rushing in. Unregistered life form on board. Hybrid signature detected. Immediate medical scan required. But Jaren ignored the commands. He held Lyra's hand as the ship docked. Security waited outside. They didn't understand what was coming. They didn't know what truth had returned. But soon, they would. 2 months later, broadcast room, Earth Federation, HQ cameras flashed. Reporters argued. The world was watching. Jaren stepped onto the platform. Lyra stood beside him, dressed in human clothes. Her white hair braided neatly, her silver skin glowing under soft lights. People stared, some in awe, some in fear, but all were silent. Jaren spoke into the microphone. "This is my sister," he said. "Her name is Lyra. She was born because a human and an alien loved each other, and the galaxy tried to erase that truth." He held up the pendant. "My mother died protecting her. Our father died defending her, and I almost died never knowing she existed." He looked at Lyra. "And now I live. Because I found her." The room stayed silent for a moment, then someone clapped, another followed, then more, until the room filled with applause. Lyra looked around, eyes wide. She had never been accepted before, but now, she was no longer hiding. She was no longer a secret. She was no longer alone. 6 months later, Memorial Garden, Earth. A new stone was placed beside the fountain. It read, "Dr. Ellen Raline, the mother who bridged 2 worlds." Below it, flowers from Earth and the alien world grew side by side. Jaren placed the photo there. Lyra placed the pendant. They stood together, hand in hand. The past was behind them, but the future was theirs to shape. Together. And though the galaxy had once feared their blood, now it would remember their bond as the tear that started everything, became the bridge that united 2 worlds.